Hi guys, and welcome to another working with styrene video. So in this one, as the title suggests, I want to go through the different steps that I take when working with styrene rods. Now, styrene rods are incredibly useful. There's all sorts of things you can use them for. If you're using the really thin stuff that's quite bendy, you can use it for wires and tubing, and just general detailing on a surface. If you're working with the thicker stuff, you can use it for actual structural parts, and then the sort of in-betweeny bits you can use for rivets and things, and even, I suppose the smaller side of things you use for rivets and bolts and things. And of course, in order to do any of that, you need to be able to chop it, and especially I think most of us will be using it for bolts and rivets, in which case we need to cut it very, very thin. So I'm going to concentrate on going through how I go about doing that. So let's crack on. Now, what we've got is the old guillotine. I'll move that to one side for a moment because I want to concentrate on the most basic way of cutting styrene. So basically, what you're going to want to do is take your blade, push it against the edge of the styrene, and just move it in slightly. Now you want to put your finger over the other side. So holding it sort of like that and putting your finger over the side. The reason for that is that they have a horrible tendency of pinging across the room. So you chop like that, and it's fairly easy to make sort of small discs, if you will, or parts. Now you can see here, if I pick up this bit here, this one's chopped in half. As you might be able to tell that if I bring it in closer. That's one of the things. If you're cutting and the styrene tends to stick to this side of the blade and the bits that you've cut off, when you go back down for the next cut, you might find that the styrene on this side and one of them will creep in and get chopped in half. It's a bit of a letdown. But that's the basic technique that I use when cutting styrene. Of course, if you're cutting bigger bits, you would measure it, say there, to a centimetre, and just give it a good chop. If you're working on the thicker parts, it can be useful just to roll it with the blade on the surface and then snap, and you'll get a nice clean cut because it will follow the line that you've dug in all the way around. So that's one of the things you can do with a hobby knife that's quite useful. And of course, when picking up small parts, as we know, you could miss like that, but generally, if you poke it with your hobby knife like that, you've got the piece on the end there which can then be dipped in glue, stuck to things, anything you want really. That's the only real way of picking up small parts of styrene is with the tip of the knife there. So that's one way of doing it. The other way is using a beast like this. What we've got is a big old blade there, lots of spares. Sorry, just not the camera. And essentially what you do is put my knife away. You push it through like that. So you push it up against the blade, and then bring your blade up slightly. Feed through just a very small amount, and essentially you're trying to. This can be quite tricky. You're trying to keep it straight. While feeding it through, and if you get into the sort of the swing of this, you can see you can cut lots of small pieces, but you have to be. I'm finding it quite difficult here because I'm so far away from it. Normally I would have my face sort of pressed up against it as I do this, and what you can see there is in a very short period of time I've just cut all of those sort of hexagonal discs. These ones are here, which can be used for bolts in all sorts of situations. So you can put one of these down and then put a smaller round piece and you have a bolt. So that was it really. There's not much else to discuss really when working with rods. They're fairly simple, and of course, as you know, I want to keep these videos as short as possible, keep them bite-sized and very specific to certain points. So that was it really. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you're not happy, give it a thumbs down. Feel free to comment with any other ways that I've missed, any ways that you cut styrene rods, and how you use them as well. That'd be really interesting to find out. And of course, if you're into this sort of thing and you want to you want to chat and discuss with similar-minded people, there's a Facebook group called Styrene Engineers. There'll be a link in the description where you can join and chat with the rest of us. There's some interesting conversations going on there. Right guys, nothing left to say really other than stay well. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Cheers.